Hi, I'm Melanie with Lost and Found, and I am a certified merchant for Fusion Mineral Paint and Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint, and I love teaching people how to use paint from these two products line. Products lines. Hi, my name's Melanie, and I'm with Lost and Found. I am a certified merchant for Fusion Mineral Paint and Miss Mustard Seeds Milk Paint, and I love teaching people how to take products from both of these lines and use them to transform their old worn out furniture that they have in their home. So that is actually what I've been doing with this side table here. I have actually painted it in 3 coats of this beautiful teal blue called Renfrew blue, from the Fusion Mineral Paint line. And what I want to show you guys today is how to add extra depth and texture to your painted furniture by adding a glaze on top of it. So I love working with glaze. It's really, really easy to work with. I find it a lot easier to work with than wax. It's just really smooth going on. Wipe back the excess. It's almost foolproof. And if you don't know, Fusion Mineral Paint does not have to be sealed with wax like chalk type paints do, because it is an acrylic based paint, and so the acrylic has already sealed this. So I could let this piece go just like it is, and it's going to be sealed, it's going to be durable, it's going to be just fine. So the glaze is really just for decorative purposes. Or if I was to add a wax, it would just be for decorative purposes. I've done some pieces on my blog before using the antiquing glaze, but what I want to show you guys today is how to custom mix your own color of glaze. So we're actually using the clear glaze here from the Fusion line, and then I'm going to mix a little bit of this nice dark charcoal gray, which is ash. I'm going to mix a little bit of ash into this to make an ash glaze to go over this Renfrew blue piece. So I've got a bowl here, and I'm just going to open up my glaze. And pour a little bit of it in here, and you can kind of mix it to the strength that you want. It doesn't take a lot. I've got another table to do, so I think that's maybe about a good amount. Then let's get some of my ash in there. Oops, a little bit out. I'm just going to squirt it in. And I'm going to kind of squirt it in until I get the color that I'm going for. Obviously, the more paint you put in there, the darker the glaze is going to be. But what the glaze does, what this product does, is it just changes the consistency of the paint a little bit. So it's easier to move around on your piece of furniture. It's easier to paint on and wipe back. It gives it a little bit more open time. I may add just a tiny bit more glaze in there. And then just mix it up good. I love these red plastic bowls. They're just from the dollar store. I think I got like a pack of 6 at the dollar store, and keep them on hand and use them for all sorts of stuff. Okay, so there it is mixed, and I've already distressed this table in the places that I wanted to distress it. You want to do that when you're glazing. You want to do your distressing and your finish sanding before you put any of the glaze on. Once you put the glaze on, you don't want to go back with any sandpaper on top of it, because you're going to sand off your glaze and then it's going to look a little bit inconsistent. So I've already distressed in some of these spots. And a great thing with glaze also, sometimes when you distress, you wind up sanding through the stain on your wood down to kind of the raw wood, and that just, I don't really like that look. So the glaze is going to help darken those spots up a little bit, and it's just going to tone down the brightness of this piece. That's a great thing that glaze does. If you feel like your paint color is too bright, then you can use glaze to tone down the brightness of it. Or if you're using the brown antiquing glaze, then it's going to warm up the finish of your color. Okay, so I've got it mixed up. And I just have one of the Fusion chip brushes here, and I'm just gonna paint it on. working in sections. And then I've got an old t-shirt. I'm just gonna wipe back the excess. You wanna kind of leave it settling in any of the cracks and crevices. Just wipe off any of your excess. Make sure to get there on the sides. A little bit more. And then, again, I'm taking my rag and I'm just wiping off the excess. After you wipe for a little while, you're gonna get a lot on your rag. And at that point, you can even kind of use your rag to just wipe on glaze in places that you want it to be. The glaze does take a little bit of time to dry. And because it does have a lot of water in it, it's a really wet product, you do want to make sure that your bottom layers of paint are really good and dry. This last coat on this was painted last night, so it's been drying overnight. If you put the glaze on too soon, when you go to wipe it off, you may wind up wiping back some of your paint too, which we don't want to do. All right, let's finish this leg. I don't know if I got that side or not. I'm just brushing it on. Kind of messy, kind of sloppy, it's okay. Come back again and just wipe. And this is just an old t-shirt that I'm using. Don't need any fancy rags or anything. Just got a steady supply of old t-shirts out in my garage, and I just cut them up as I need them. And you've got, a little bit of time to work with. Like, the glaze really does have a good open time, so you don't have to go too fast. I wouldn't glaze the entire piece. I do recommend working in sections, because if you don't get to it, if it starts drying on you before you get to it, then it's just hard to wipe back the excess. But it really doesn't dry very quickly, You got a minute or two to go get back to it and wipe it off. Paint it on. You see how easy that is? With wax, wax I just find to be a little bit more temperamental. It's really easy to kind of over wax an area, and then sometimes you kind of wind up wiping off too much of it, and glaze is just, I think it's so easy. All right, so that's the process. Simple. And then you're just gonna leave it to dry. Let it dry really well. It's gonna take a couple hours. Before I start using this piece, I'm gonna give it several days to really dry out. Fusion takes 21 days to fully cure up and harden. That doesn't mean you can't use it until 21 days, but that means that your finish is going to be, a little bit soft until it hits that full cure point. And we've just added a lot of water, a lot of wetness back on top of this with the glaze. So any piece that you glaze, just be mindful of that you really want to let it dry out well before you start bumping it around or moving it. But think about all the different things you can do with this. You can mix in some of the metallics and make a metallic glaze. You can really combine any sort of color combo that you want. You could paint white and do a blue glaze over it. So many different things that you can do with the clear glaze when you mix in whatever color you want. And then of course we do have the pre-mixed antiquing glaze if you're just wanting to go with that antiqued finish. So thank you for being with me today, for joining me. I'm gonna go finish up this table, and we'll see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.